We're live.
One. Oh, good. I'm so excited because I have a chance to hang out with somebody today on my show that they're on that vibration level of speaking and hearing and perceiving the world the same way as I am, which is so rare. You can't find your people on your same God communication thing. It's getting harder and harder, but you see them fall by the wayside. That's what's happening. You see them fall by the wayside, and so you want someone strong in their faith, and that's, oh my God, it's just scary sometimes. You got to know that it's real. You got to know it's real for them, and that they feel it. That they're not just saying the words that somebody told them to say, but that it means something to them, that in their body and soul, they get a reaction when they hear that word, that holy word. Yeah. All the hairs on their body stand up, and they know it's a God calm. It's a God calm. Woo, incoming, ding, 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 ding. It's hard to talk on that level with people, but I can do that with you. And I got to tell you, at times when I feel so low down for what I lived through, and we don't even have to go in it, but it was deep and ugly, and woo. Oh my God, it was like, talk about it was Gethsemane. That's what I call it now.
Yeah. And God brought you through, Mom, and I'm telling you.
And I heard a man. Let me tell it now. Just a minute. You're younger than me, so you got to give me a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, but I heard a man on the internet, and he said, I think that Roseanne Barr, she is a true patriot. And boy, did that bring me some battery of life back into my body and mind. And that was you, sir. And I just loved you since I saw you then, because you spoke to me, and I appreciate it so much. That was needed words. Thank you. And boy, you dig, don't you? Boy, you get in there and you dig. Oh, you're not afraid. Why are you not afraid? Why are you so not afraid?
Oh, because I am a biblical John Wick. I am a contract killer. I am a contract assassin. My assignment by Hashem, God himself, is to decapitate the global Baphomet Luciferian heptagon deep state. And I am here today to let you know that there is a coming liquidation of the global deep state. Okay. Now I have two contacts within the federal government, one here in New York City, one in Los Angeles. They told me specifically that Barack Obama was indeed arrested last week. Okay. And also that the real Joe Biden was liquidated a year ago, and that Gina Haspel, whose bloodline is interconnected to one Angela Merkel and one Theresa May, going back at least 1,500 years within the German Kastner bloodline. So then Gina Haspel is in witness protection within a specific Black site ran by the CIA in Greenland. And so what you and I are witnessing, not just the greatest global cover-up in American political history, but Mom, what you and I are eyewitnessing is the beginning of Operation Warp Speed. Now, somebody said, wait a minute, Bishop, I thought Operation Warp Speed represents that the President Donald J. Trump and his cabinet are pushing for this vaccine that's going to come out next month. Well, that's the official story. But the unofficial story, that Operation Warp Speed is a global plan by our great president to liquidate traitors, jackals, and Judases who had tried to subvert American sovereignty by trying to bring down, I believe, the greatest president in my lifetime, and that is the Honorable President Donald J. Trump. So it's interesting, according to Roman Empire history, according to a man by the name of Cicero, He once said, and I quote, that a nation can survive its fools and even the ambitious, but that nation cannot survive treason from within. Why? Because a traitor has a particular trait in them, and because that trait represents the deep state. Now, the United States of America is under two constitutions right now. The first constitution through the 1776 Constitution that has designed us as not a democracy, but as an American sovereign nation that is not beholden to any outside force, who is not beholden to that's right, taxation without representation. We're under a second constitution through the which now we're called a citizen. Okay. What does that mean? It means that we are now paying taxes to an internal revenue service that, according to the first constitution, it's an illegal entity. But according to the second constitution, it is a legal entity. So what you and I are eyewitnessing and did eyewitness back in November was a scam, was nothing but a scam.
Wait, I missed what you said. You said back when?
Yeah. Yes. When we go back, we're going back to the 3rd of November during our last month. We after the U.S. presidential election, we had eyewitnessed a political scam. Now, why do I say political scam? Because according to U.S. intelligence, the 305th Military Intelligence Battalion, under the direction of our great president, President Trump, had raided a corporation out of Frankfurt, Germany, by the name of SkyTel Corporation. Now, the SkyTel Corporation was designed by and through German intelligence back in 2001. Now, what does SkyTel have to do with Dominion? Because it is the SkyTel Corporation that houses all of the Dominion servers, which were confiscated by U.S. intelligence through the military. So the SkyTel group that was raided weeks ago, last month, under the president, was created in 2001 in Spain as a black site operation through German intelligence. Yes. So what President Trump did was genius, because I believe, woman of God, that President Trump will remain in the White House. So in warp speed, okay, the unofficial Operation Warp Speed is a plan that has nothing to do with vaccination. That's our story. But Operation Warp Speed contacts in the federal government is a liquidation plan through the that needs to take place to liquidate the traitors going against the first constitution, but opponents of a second constitution, 1871, that was created by the Rothschild dynasty going back to 1871 with the religious backing of Pope Pius IX through the Vatican, where they put undue pressure upon a deep state president, Ulysses S. Grant, to take away American sovereignty so that the American public becomes a subject, a citizen subject to the state. So President Trump, who was ordained by God to destroy the second Constitution by restoring the first Constitution of 1871. So the Scytl group, SCYTL, is owned by the Paragon Group out of Freiburg, Germany. Now, the Paragon Group, which was also raided by the military a month ago, is owned and operated by a Russian by the name of Konstantin Komarov. Let me just spell his name. Capital Konstantin. So,
Bishop, I'm sorry to interrupt. Your internet's spotting in and out. Would you mind, I hate to do this mid-show, but would you mind shutting down and restarting because you're cutting in and out pretty bad?
Yeah, you're cutting in and out.
Sorry about that. Ma, you and I can talk for a minute if you'd like, or we can.
I'll talk about how it's important for everyone to do their own research of the things you're saying to us, and that everyone research everything you're saying for themselves.
Of course.
And come to, right. And all of these things you're saying are completely researchable on the internet as of today, right? Before they shut it down.
He's restarting, Ma. Give him a minute.
I'm going to ask him that. But of course, I'm just saying that. I don't need to ask him. But I'm sure he'll agree with me that, I've been on the internet researching. That's why my eyes are sagging and half blind for decades now. It's fun to go on there and research and learn. And, reading declassified government documents and papal bulls, heck, that's the funnest thing you could do. That's what I do.
Definitely.
I don't like reading gossip sites, a waste of my time on BS and trivialities. I like to go where the real stuff is about maritime law and actual citizens' rights, and how, people on this earth have been stripped of their citizenship and they have no countries. And nobody's even catching that one. Hello.
Are you there, Bishop?
Yes, sir.
All right. That seems a little better. All right. I'm going to go back to you,
I was just saying how great it is that each of us listening can get on the internet and research each of these subjects, and go, hey, you can find out for yourself by simply researching for yourself on the internet. And that is the entire purpose of the military operation of Trump that was, given to the public under a certain alphabet letter. Am I right?
Absolutely. And that 17th letter of the alphabet, and we do apologize for the buffering, is the deep state that's upset with us. So before we get back to the military raid concerning Scytl some weeks ago, the question is, we have to ask ourselves, when did the Q movement begin? It began on the 1st of April in 1860.
Yeah,
where 1860, yes, ma'am. So April the 1st, 1860, a group of 25 Northern generals who were backers of the first Constitution had designed not a secret society, but a movement that would protect the first Constitution, who went on to create the second Constitution. So the Q movement began back during April 1st, 1860, where their challenge and their assignment was to protect American sovereignty, by protecting President Abraham Lincoln. So then the Q movement, the letter Q represents enlightenment. There is a
Let me tell you
Q,
what it is in Jew. Yeah. I bet you don't know this. Yes. Here's where I came to tell Christian stuff they don't know. Hanukkah,
Yes,
Hanukkah is all about 17, and so is Purim.
ma'am.
They're both about 17.
Oh. And
You
you
know,
know what? Oh, that's mind blowing
mhm,
because when that number 17 is a number of spirit and order. Now, in Genesis,
mhm,
in the
right,
book of the beginnings, chapter 1, that
mhm,
number 17 comes into fruition 10 times. Does
right.
Genesis 1 say, and God said, or DNA, the DNA of God said 10 times, which means God is the first prophet. 7
Right.
times it says, and God saw. God is the first seer. So 10 and 7, 17. Whereas we have 12 minor prophets plus 5 major, 17. Or
Mhm,
12, 1, 2, and 5 from the
mhm,
first Adam to
right.
the third Adam of today. The spiritual order is 125 generations. So you hit a powerful nerve with me, Mom, when it
Oh,
comes
wow.
to the number 17. So this SkyTel corporation that was raided some weeks ago, its CEO is a Russian by the name of
Mhm,
Konstantin Komarov,
mhm,
who is working for German intelligence. Okay.
yeah. Mhm.
He's working with a man by the name of Bruno Carr, capital Kahl. He is the head of the BND, German intelligence. So this Konstantin, I'm going to say something's going to blow your mind. This
Uh-oh.
Konstantin Komarov, who runs Skytel, his father's name was Vladimir Komarov, who was one of the principal architects of East German intelligence called the Stasi after
Uh-oh.
World War II.
Let me
And
pick up my
his,
jaw.
oh, and his father, Vladimir Komarov the First, was one of the principal architects of the Russian killing squad, the Cheka. So what you're dealing with is deep state killers who rigged this election. And this is a reason why Gina Haspel, who is the 25th director of the CIA, that I like to call the cocaine intelligence agency. So when you look, and you made mention of that number 17. So there are 25 directors in the history of the CIA. Every one of them are related by blood. I brought some Ford clips for you to pick up your jaw from the floor. Now, what does that
I knew
number
that.
20? Yes,
I
they're
knew that.
all
Yeah.
related. Just like the first 44 presidents are related, the only president who's not related is President Donald J. Trump. He's not related to the previous 44. But
Mm-hmm.
Gina Haspel, who is in witness protection, she's in a hole in Greenland, okay?
A
Because
hole.
she's in a hole. She's been according to my 2 contacts in the FBI, one here in New York City, one in Los Angeles, whose names I can never reveal. I don't want to be 6 feet under pushing daisies. They said that the real Gina Haspel was on her way to Gitmo, but she began to sing like a canary.
Well,
She
that's
tried.
what I heard, that she started, she gave it up. No, they didn't have to do nothing to her. So
No,
why did
they
they
did
put her in a
not have
hole
to
then?
do anything. That's
Well, then
right,
why
Mom. They
the
didn't have
hole?
to
They
do
should put
anything.
her in a hotel. They should put her up in a hotel.
Because Gina Haspel's bloodline, though her maiden name is McGuire, but the McGuire bloodline is connected going back at least 1,500 years to the Kasner bloodline, And that last name of Kasner is the maiden name of Angela Merkel, who's related by blood
They
to
keep
the
it in the
maiden.
family. I mean,
They're
everybody
all
keeps it
related.
in the family. I mean, look at that's how it works. It works like the mafia. That didn't you see Godfather 3? That's how it all works.
Yeah.
They keep it in the family. So I'm not shocked by any of that. That's how it's always worked. That's
See,
how
they
power.
keep it in the
That's why they
family.
marry their cousin and stuff.
And I'm going to do you one better. Not
I
only
mean, my
are
family
all
married their cousin. Hold on. My family married their own cousins too, because they were just a little village over there. And so, like, my uncle married my aunt, and I got a lot of that inbreeding in there from like all the little towns in Eastern Europe. That everybody inbreeds, so they didn't notice that it was that weird for the king and them to be doing it.
You see, every European family or royalty is interrelated through incest. The House of Windsor, they're really of Germanic blood. They're not British. Okay. They're of the House of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, which they are related to the Romanovs. And the Romanovs were related to the Kaiser Wilhelm Empire out of Germany. So Jeffrey Epstein's bloodline.
That's what I wondered about, because he wasn't a bloodline guy, was he?
That's right. And I'm going to say something that you probably already know. This is mind-blowing. As we're talking to your beautiful listeners concerning the liquidation of the global deep state. The bloodline of one Jeffrey Epstein goes back to the year of 1300 to the Bacharach bloodline out of Bavaria, Germany. That from in the year of 1300, the Bacharachs changed their name from Bacharach to the Bauer family in 1577. And
the Bauer.
The Bauers became the Rothschilds. So the Epstein bloodline is related to the Bacharach bloodline, that's related to the Annenberg bloodline, that's related to the Wolfowitz bloodline, that's related to the Wasserman bloodline, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who technically married her bloodline cousin, Schultz. Steve Schultz is technically related to Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yeah.
And both the Wasserman bloodline and the Schultz bloodline are related to the Maxwell bloodline through the bloodline out of the Prussian Empire called the Hoch bloodline, Hoch, which became the Maxwell bloodline through Sir Robert Maxwell and Jesslyn Maxwell. All of these doubles are related by blood.
Can I tell you something, Bishop? Bishop, let me tell you one thing. Here's how you say her name. Gilan.
Oh my God. Say that again,
You're
Mom.
welcome.
Mind blowing.
Gilan.
Oh.
You're welcome.
You see, I thank you so very much. I love the language. So, I love you so much, Mom. As we're talking about the liquidation of the global deep state, I believe in torture. I believe in liquidation. I believe in assassinations. Take these doubles out, okay? 3 can keep a secret if 2 are dead. Better to be judged by 12 than to be carried by 6. So the military who go right ahead, Mom.
Wait. Now, don't we first say we will pray for those who have the ability to change and come back and rejoin the human race and pay for their trespasses against us with real money, with real actual money of, that's worth something besides shit. Excuse me, Bishop. But though we will accept them back into, and they will become heroic to us because we know probably none of them will do it. But we want to open that 1% door that one of them billionaires or one of them would come back to the humans and, do what's right and just do what's right and repent for what you did wrong, that you didn't have to do, the people you hurt that you didn't really have to hurt. Because,
right. See,
you could have, like, if it was only over a dime, if it was only over a dime, you could have said no, but you didn't. And you know that you're a slave because you did that. And your soul,
you hit a powerful nerve with me, Mom, as we're talking about the liquidation of the global deep state. We have a $26.5 trillion national debt that would take us 3,600 years to liquidate. Then globally, we have a $256 trillion global debt.
Yes, that's right.
That is going to take 380,000 years to liquidate. Why? Not because of those of the first Constitution in 1776, but because of these devils of the second Constitution. You see, it's a war, Mom. Not just
they were the traitors within. They're the traitor. They're the enemy within, and we can never name them because we don't want to turn on our own because they look like us sometimes. They sit next to us in our place of worship sometimes, and we're afraid because that'll mean all of us, but it don't. This is the time to choose. And, listen, here's how it's going to go, I think.
Yes.
I think it's going to go like, this is my biblical calculations, and I'm just an old lady. Okay, so I'm not saying I'm anything special. I just like to read and figure stuff out for myself. So I'm just sharing what I figured out. Seems like I'm always right. You can check me out because I go by Torah. But, here comes the Hanukkah, and it's also the year of the Esther boomerang, the Purim boomerang is going to happen on Hanukkah, which is also on Shabbat, which is also in a Jubilee year, and which is also about the light shining to just the light, the miracle of light. And so I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice to combine all those things, and those people who are guilty and hold the debt over the heads of people on earth who, are broken and enslaved to them? Wouldn't it be great if Hashem, the mighty God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and I add Jesus, if that God would move their hearts, that those people, they would just forgive all the debts, and we could have a real jubilee, and it would be because of their good deeds, that they fulfill what Torah says is correcting the world to tikkun olam. They correct the world by simply forgiving the debts of the downtrodden slaves that they've created with their greed, and they thereby forgive themselves, and they could be welcomed back into the fold of humanity. For that, I pray this Hanukkah. Can I hear amen, sons and daughters?
Amen, Mom. Mom, what you said was so anointed. I've got a Roseanne Barr anointing right now. I'm telling you, what you said was prophetic. It was prolific. And that term light, when we talk about light, you see, anything that God has, who is the truth, Satan is a counterfeit. So you and I are living in this time where you and I are seeing broken humanity.
That's right.
See, we have to concentrate not on the addiction. Add means to add. Diction means dictionaries. So a addiction means something that's added to the person's life that God did not design for a person to have. So we cannot concentrate.
That's a bad additive, a false additive.
That's right. Additive, addictive. Okay. This is the reason why people are indictive, because there is a additive or a addiction through hate where they become vindictive. So we have to concentrate on the root that has conceived the pain, that has designed and given birth to the addiction. You see, we got 7.7 billion corporations, because the term corporations means corpse. So you and I are told to separate ourselves by 6 feet. Witches do that, because in every satanic witchcraft seance, and as a side note, the first letter of Lucifer is L, Satan S, devil D, there's your LSD. Then the very nature of darkness is in Ezekiel 28:13, that the first 3 stones on the breastplate of Tyrus, whose name means in Persian tied to Lenol. Lenol is a demon of pharmakia within Persian demonology. This is where we get the term Tylenol, where in actuality, in Ezekiel 20:13, talks about Lucifer. Oh, those first 3 stones out of the 9 represent the brokenness of humanity today, the nature of Satan. Sardis S, topaz T, diamond D, STD. So when we say STD, we're talking sexually transmitted diseases. You and I are eyewitnessing brokenness. Yeah. So when you talk about a broken system, can I share this with you, Mom? This is going to blow your mind.
Okay, good. I love it.
Your listeners are going to need not just multiple forklifts, but multiple cranes. In the book of Enoch, the prophet, in volume 1.
Oh, Enoch is huge.
Mom,
it's huge. Oh, God Almighty.
In Enoch, volume 1, chapter 6, it reveals the names of 20 fallen angels who are called Nephilims, watchers, and Gregories, who gave to mankind the Gregorian calendar, which through the Vatican and
I don't go by that one.
I don't go by no Gregorian calendar. That's not
from God. I stay away from it. I do not.
Mom, I stay away from that, because the Gregorian calendar is given to man by the Gregories demon to pass that through the Vatican system. But in Enoch chapter 6, 200 angels convene on Mount Hermon. 10% are named. And this is going to blow your mind. Wait a minute now. You and I are told to separate 6 feet from each other. So we have 7.7 billion people times 6 feet of separation. That's 46 billion, 200 million degrees of separation. So you and I have 46 chromosomes, 23 from the father, 23 from the mother. Then the number 200, but there are 200 fallen angels on Mount Hermon that surrounded Mount Hermon, which represents the symbol of paramount pictures with the fallen stars around the mountain. 20 of these angels are made mention that I'm going to interpret right now, both in Persian and Chaldean. Okay?
Okay.
These angels represent cognitional thinking that will begin the process of reversing the design from God in order to reimagine, to rethink, to reinvent a new redesign, a new revival, to recreate, to reform, to rebalance, to restart a new design, a new pathogen through a
You know
new
what I call it? You know
Yes.
what I call it? I know I'm interrupting, but you
Oh,
know what I
good.
call it? I call it reboot.
Yeah, Mom, that's
Reboot,
it.
redeem, restart. Reboot,
You
restart,
see?
redeem. That's it. Reboot, restart, redeem.
Oh, you got me. So you're blowing my mind. I'm so excited. So, in other words, to make it simple, you already know this because you're on such a level. Not even theologians can touch you, Mom. Okay, when we're talking about this a global liquidation of these devils. So these 20 angels, quickly, I'm not going to name the angels, but angels, but your listeners can go to Enoch chapter 6, volume 1.
Yeah.
But I'm going to
You
reveal
shouldn't
what
speak the name of those angels. You should let them be only seen by the eye and not come out the mouth. Don't speak them.
That's right. The mind of God told me don't reveal those names on
Just
the
look
air
at them.
because you're
No,
activating
don't
them.
ever speak them. Only witness them. Only see them. Don't speak them. Watch what comes out your mouth. That's what Jesus said. Don't think so much what goes in your mouth. Think about what comes out, because that's how you're cursing your own self, and you don't even know it.
We have to be careful. So, in essence,
guard your word. Boy, I learned that one.
That's so. In essence, when Bishop breaks down these, I'm not saying the names, but what they mean in relation to what we saw during the election.
Right,
these names in both Persian and Chaldean means this: cognitional, to reimagine, thinking, to rethink, that will reinvent, to begin a new redesign, the process to revive, a reversing to recreate, a new design to reform.
That's right.
From separate from God, to bring rebalance, to reorder, to restart, a new design, to represent a new pathogen, to revenge through a new protein. Here we go. To return to a new beginning, to revise a new kingdom, to review a new government through rebellion back to heaven, to repeat, to rule, to refresh humanity through regurgitation by resetting DNA, fully recognizing through deception a great global reset. In other words, what Bishop just got revealing to your beautiful audience is the definition of the 20 fallen angels in Enoch 6, volume 1, which represents the goal of the global Luciferian heptagon deep state to return humanity back to the DNA of the serpent through that.
Oh yeah, I heard that one. Oh yeah, I heard that one. I heard that one. I did hear that.
See?
It's so scary. How do you know what's real and what ain't? For God's sake, it drives you out of your mind. I'm out of my mind with this stuff. I mean, even if 1/10 of it is verified truth, it's a horror, a living horror. What in the heck are we supposed to do? We need more booze or something.
These devils. See, Mom,
oh my God, they've turned us against ourselves. They've turned us against our own kids.
Yes, because you and I are living in what they call reality or the matrix.
Yeah.
So you talk about reset reality.
Yeah.
Well, reality represents pre-origin of origination. In other words, reality means that you and I were designed not to be black, white, brown, beige, and red, and yellow. You and I are designed by Hashem, by God, to be a spirit. And they that worship Hashem, God, must worship him in spirit and in truth. So that's reality. Now, when the serpent came in Genesis 3,
it just says God put us all in different dresses. That's what Torah says. God sends the spirits out in different dresses. That's how it's described in Torah.
That's right.
But I mean, they get obsessed with this racial profiling stuff. Aren't they the left? Yeah. That's all they do is racial profile 24/7. They don't care, as Dr. King said, about the character of anyone's content or, I mean, you know, the content of anyone's character. It's just all about skin tones. And I mean, that's such an insult because that's the opposite of what any decent human being thinks he meant and what we've learned over our own lifetime. It's about the spirit. It's not about the skin. It's about what's within. And these people can't learn that lesson here in the 2020s. That still has not been learned. What a disgrace. That's a disgrace on humanity.
You know why, Mom? Because that's a virus. You see, when Adam, now look at Adam. That's it. The first and last letters of Adam's name is A.M. So he's designed by God as the A.M. of the morning. Like he is designed as the P.M. of the evening. So it's Adam and Eve. Is even
I've heard that one. Yeah, I've heard that one.
I'm sorry. So you're going to have me start preaching now. So, but there's a disorder in the world. Now, why do we have reality? So we go from reality, spirit, Christ, to reality because the serpent contacted the woman that brought reality, the counterfeit form of reality.
I get you. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So we're so
when they got kicked out of Eden, when they had to join up.
That's it.
That's what it was about. They didn't want to get. They didn't want to have to start getting on top of each other and rotting like a bunch of goats. But that was their punishment.
You see? You see, when you look in Genesis 3, verse 6. Oh, Mom, you're making me laugh. You see, there is a word in Genesis 3, verse 6. It's called wise. This is a serpent speaking to the woman. So the serpent speaks to the woman as if she's the man. So the serpent says to the woman, ye. So that term ye is a masculine term. This is how the devil subverts truth. So the serpent contacted the woman after the fall. Then the family of Adam, his wife, became what we call pigmentation. Now, remember in the Gospels, Jesus cast out the legion. And this is where we get the term religion or religion. Where did Jesus send the legion? 6,000 into the herd of swine. A swine is a character of a pigmentation. So this is the problem with Black folk. We put our identity in skin color. So you have this witch in Hollywood named Beyonce who put out a record that black is king. No, black is not king. God, Hashem, is king. Okay? So your skin color is not who you are. It's what you are, but it's not who you are. You know the problem with America today and people around the world? We don't know who we are.
That's right. Nobody knows who the hell they are. So they're going for the easiest, explanation. Oh, well, I have freckles, so that means I have a history of having freckles, and everybody who has freckles is exactly like me. And people are talking, but you know what? There is some truth to the fact that, Africa is the source of all life on this planet. And so there is a pigment issue in history. There is a pigment issue. And so, I mean, that is part of the whole, the way history books are written about to excuse slavery. And so we have to take that to our account as well.
And Mom, when you look, you're right. You are 100% right. When you look at the continent called Africa.
Right. Look at it now, what's happening.
That's it. But that's not the name of the original continent that we call Africa today. Well, the original name was called Alkebulan. Right. Capital ALKEBULAN, or some spell it LUN, which is a Coptic word meaning the Garden of Eden. Wait a minute now. Right. So how do we go from the Garden of Eden, Alkebulan, to Africa? Now, during the Second Punic War in 202 BC, there was a general by the name of Hannibal out of Carthage, which is present-day Libya and Tanzania. Right. He was defeated by a general out of Rome by the name of Leo Scipio. That when Leo Scipio defeated Hannibal, the power structure of the deep state in the Roman Empire gave him the name Africanus, which is called Africa today. So Leo Scipio is the name of Africa. Wait a minute. Named after a white Roman deep state general. So why is Black America in the Black diaspora attaching their identity not to God, but to a bloodline, the Africanus family, who were the first ones, Mom, to build the system of pedophilia in the Roman Empire? Or it was the Africanus family who not only built, man, I feel the anointing from God, the pedophilia system, but it was Leo Scipio Africanus who began and created the first underground pedophilia networks that we're seeing today in New York City, Hollywood, and around the world. So why are Black people attaching their identity to a family? It means, Mom, that Black America is still in slavery. Not all of us, but a great percentage. So we have to stop putting identity in a skin color or even in a continent, because my identity is in God. Well, what is the first letter of Genesis? G. The first letter of Deuteronomy D, that's the acronym for God in the Torah. So in the Torah, oh my, I feel an anointing here. It talks about the children of Israel coming out of Egypt. So you got 6 million people out of Egypt. Most of them were Hebrews. You see, every Hebrew is a Jew, but not every Jew is a Hebrew. Another topic for another day. So 6 million beautiful Jewish people of the Jewish diaspora came up out of Egypt, being chased by the global deep state of 600 chariots driven by 600 men who occupy 600 positions in Egypt, 666.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting. Now, there were 10% of the 6 million people who came out of Egypt. That is 600,000 men, the 10% of the 6 million Jews who came up out of Egypt. But there are 600,000 letters in the Torah.
That's right.
Which means every single man, the 10%, which is 600,000 of the 6 million, represents a letter of the Torah.
That is correct.
Torah not only means the law, but Torah rabbinically means to God. Gospel means in Christ. So is the Torah is the gospel unrevealed, and the gospel is the Torah revealed. So God,
well, I understand your, I understand your belief in that.
Yes,
and I don't totally agree with you in that. But that is something we will agree to discuss further, because it's my special love on this earth is to discuss that. Because I think I have some things to show you.
Absolutely.
That you will love.
See, this is the beauty of what we call conversation. So many, and these are people of the left that you can't talk to them, because unless you believe what they believe, then you're nothing but dirt to them. Why? Because you're dealing with people who don't know who they are. You see, Miss Barr, there's a difference between value versus worth. You cannot know your worth unless you know your value. So the problem with, let me speak to Black America, not all, but a certain percentage of Black Americans, because they don't know their value and thereby their worth, they have been taught to hang themselves on the clearance rack because they've been taught that they are less than of what they are valued in worth. So this is the problem that we're seeing today. And the reason why half of America voted for this clone Biden, because it's based on...
I don't think anybody voted for him.
I don't think so either.
Except for his family and people he paid. I don't think nobody voted for him.
That's it. And again, they rigged the election. But the few real people who voted, they don't know their value. And they don't know
they do.
worth.
Did you see that what's her name? Ruby Freeman. I saw her and her daughter there in Georgia. Yeah. Oh my God. I said a prayer for her because I know where she is in her mind, but it's such a victim place, and it's terrible because when we feel like victims, that's when we sin the worst against our fellow human beings. And that's what she did, because she did what all those white sheriffs could not do. She disenfranchised the Black vote in her own city. And you know what she did? She says it herself. She goes, when I saw how many of these citizens, Black people, voted for Trump, I I was sickened in my heart, and I took it upon myself to disenfranchise their vote. Well, she did what all those white sheriffs, Bull, Connor, and all them, she did what they couldn't do, and she did it with self-righteousness, because that's how far out this left is. They don't even know. They're fighting to bring back slavery, for crying out loud. They don't even know what they're doing.
Ooh, go ahead,
they're bringing
Mom.
back slavery. They're bringing it back to slavery. They're trying to lock up all the black kids. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say. They have this program where they look one way, but what they're doing is, they're shutting down the human beings. They're shutting down the human beings in their lockdown, their mass lockdown, like in that movie I referenced. That's what they want. They want to lock them all down. They want, Kamala Harris. Well, they picked her. Her one talent is locking up black youth and use them in prison like labor camps to work for 21 cents for corporations that she owns a piece of. Come on, America. How dumb are you? For God's sake, how stupid are you? And then you turn on me. You won't, I told you all, I will have the last word, and I will. And I'll also have the last laugh. Bank on it, bitches.
That's right. See, Kamala got where she's at now because Kamala Harris laid on her back, and Kamala Harris sucked her way.
She got on top. No. Only a man would say something like that. I know better. She got on top.
It got her there, but she won't stay there.
No, she got on top because that's how you get it over with, nice and quick.
Oh, that's so true. But you know what? To this Ruby Freeman, she's a part of a secret society called Sigma Pi.
Disenfranchising black people's vote, but that ain't helping. Ruby, who told you this shit? Who told you to swallow 2 yards of shit with both hands? Who gave you that? Right. Who told you that?
That's right. Because that's it. That's it.
Go to jail for the Democrats. For those white people that paid you, you're going to go to jail for them. You're taking the brunt of this whole scam for them. Hello?
Hello. And what it is, Ruby Freeman is a member of Sigma Pi Phi Boule. Now, for your listeners, what is the Boule Secret Society? Glad you asked. Capital BOUL'. The Boule Secret Society was created by Rockefeller money on the 15th of May, 1904, in the city of Philadelphia, the hometown of the late Kobe Bean Bryant. The Boules are the black skulls and bones that designed 9 black Greek lettered secret societies, 5 fraternities, 4 sororities, which are designed by the system not to liberate Black America, but to emancipate them. That's why it's called not the Proclamation of Liberation in 1863. It's called the Emancipation. Well, what does that mean, Bishop? Emancipation means that the slave is a new redesigned slave who is now a controlled asset of the system. So Ruby Freeman represents the black bourgeoisie element in our country who don't love the masses of black people. So the Boules, like Louis Bean Pie, Fruitbag Farrakhan, Jesse Jackson, Reverend Al, Vitamin B and C Deficient Sharpton, these are devils who are sent by the system to keep black people on the plantation through victimhood. So Ruby Freeman, in the black bourgeoisie, they saw Trump as a threat. Trump got more black votes than any prior Republican presidential candidate in history.
It says since 1960, I heard.
Yes. So President Trump built the greatest financial gain in American history. Oh, so we sent the Russian
for people on the bottom
here.
Of the spectrum, for people on the bottom of the pyramid, the biggest gain was at the bottom for the working people. They hate that.
See, Mom, this is why I'm so angry. You know who I'm angry at? I'm not angry at so much of the Democratic Party because you see them a mile away. Who I'm angry at concerning this scam of the election is the Christian pastors, the American pulpit, where 135,000 black pastors signed on the dotted line for Joe Biden because they were paid off through FEMA. They were paid off that they're going to use their church as a FEMA camp. So I'm angry at these prophets of Baal. Pastors, I hope and pray that you're watching me right now, okay? Because you cannot have it both ways. You cannot say that you are pro-life, but you voted for a pro-death presidential candidate, this clone Joe Biden, who in 1974, Mom, had said that black men were super predators, and he signed a law into a policy in 74 supporting busing segregation, separating black kids from white kids. 20 years later, in 94, he signed the crime bill, being backed by this Bonnie and Clyde team of the Clintons that put 2.7 million black men in prison. That at the time, between 94 and 2000, was 10% of the black male population. Why did they go to jail? Having an ounce of crack cocaine. Whereas
Bill was selling coke and snorting it.
That's it. Well, Joe Biden, I blame for that. But also, Mom, I blame Joe Biden for the Iran-Contra conspiracy. During the 1980s, Joe Biden and John Kerry, being on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, made millions of dollars during the 80s because not just because of the sale of weapons to the Contras in Central and South America, but Joe Biden, James Biden, the younger brother of Joe, including John Kerry, and Teresa Heinz, the wife of John Kerry, made a killing because they allowed
Pelosi's kid in on it too.
Yes, the Pelosi children, including a young Paul Pelosi during that time, and the entire Pelosi family out of Baltimore allowed millions of pounds, of crack cocaine to go where, Miss Barr? Into South Central LA. Who's responsible? Joe Biden. So I don't understand. That's it. But the Democratic Party, in its origin, in its origination, is built upon pedophilia, because James Madison, along with Thomas Jefferson was a pedophile who raped a 15-year-old girl selling Hemmings.
14.
So the Democratic Party can only function upon the ignorance of a people who want to remain a victim. We call this, Mom, the Lamarckism syndrome, or the Lamarckism psychology of forcing yourself to be sick to garner victimhood, not just through the Lamarckism or the Lamarckism syndrome through clinical psychology, that you make yourself sick, right, to garner sympathy, but it is the plantation that gives you a race card with an unlimited balance of excuses. So this is the reason why I'm telling you, and I'm telling Black America, whatever happens in the next 4 years, you deserve it because of this plantation. Well, you know, Market
you're talking about if Biden gets in, right?
Yeah, if Biden gets in, but I believe he's not going to get in.
I believe he's not going to get in.
I don't believe that
because
either,
if he did, if he did, that would be the end of all, of especially of Black America, Black working class America. That's the end of it. It's the end of our whole country too, but especially of working class and the poor, and especially of now including the middle class, everybody who works for a living.
That's it. That's what it is. Well, one of the main political themes or mottos or slogans of Joseph Stalin, when he was liquidating the upper intelligentsia, the Black nobility within the Russian Empire, his motto was "Build Back Better."
Really?
That's Joe Biden's. Joseph Stalin, who came into power because he actually poisoned Lenin and had assassinated Leon Trotsky, whose real name is Leon Bronstein, who lived here in the Bronx, from 1915, 1916, who received a $50 million check, from a man by the name of Jacob Schiff of Kuhn Loeb and Company, who had produced a bloodline relative, Adam Schiff. Jacob Schiff had financially backed the destruction of Russian sovereignty by assassinating Tsar Nicholas and the Romanovs. So then this mentality, build back better, which Joe Biden is using, came through the political paradigm of Joseph Stalin, who also created through the KGB what you and I call today Black liberation theology.
Well, yeah, I know all about that one.
Black liberation theology, Latino liberation theology teaches
Jeremiah,
which we not only call the Lamarckian syndrome of victimhood, but there's a second term called Munchausen syndrome. Well, this is what people like Ruby Freeman, who had disenfranchised not just Black America, but disenfranchised the truth of sovereignty. She hates herself because these Black bourgeoisie leaders, Mom, they don't care about the masses of Black people. Market Sanger.
I'm gonna interrupt you here.
Yes, ma'am.
Because everything you're saying regarding the Black community and your feelings towards them, see, I want to co-sign it. Yes, because that is exactly how I feel is happening with the Jewish American community as well. That's what they did to us too. All the rabbis, every one of them, they get up there and they do that leftist crap too. Every one of them. And that psyop. Oh my God! If I was to tell you about that psyop on the Jewish American liberal pulpits, you wouldn't even believe it. The most popular thing is a woman from Nevada. I mean, not Nevada, excuse me. Nebraska. I need to take a drink. Hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
Dry. Oh, I hate iced coffee. I'm going back to my Coca-Cola.
Yes.
But a real popular thing on these liberal Jewish synagogues now, or but they're called temples, but is a woman from Nebraska who decided that she was a man, so she became a man and then converted to Judaism, and now she's a rabbi.
Wow. Oh,
and the thing that they preach most about is they hate Israel.
Yes. They hate Israel.
And they're getting their payoff too. They're getting paid off for that crap too. But look at it's just a total occupation of what Judaism actually is. They perverted all of it. And they're leading all these youth, these Jewish youth, just like in the Black community, down the primrose path where, wait a minute, what happened to, hey, if you're claiming you're a Jew, you should maybe hear about a guy named God.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this guy named God. And they haven't.
Yes, ma'am. See?
See, that's the
because
same thing. They
Judaism has
divided
been
us like
subverted.
not in our spiritual, and we had a bond too, Jews and blacks in this country. We had a spiritual bond, and it got us through the 60s. We made some stuff change and happen, but they couldn't take that, so they had to get in there and just hammer it. They took money from the wrong people. That's what it always comes down to. The people that don't have no interest in anybody in America building wealth and having good communities where children are safe. They don't like none of that.
They don't want that, Mom. In 1939, there was a manifesto, and you hit a powerful, positive nerve with me as we're talking about liquidating the global deep state. In 1939, there was a manifesto called the Negro Project that was designed by Planned Parenthood, that was once called the American Birth Control League in the 1920s. So in 1939, Margaret Sanger had signed on the dotted line, and she got a lot of black pastors and leaders of the NAACP, SNCC Corps, the Congress of Racial Equality, the Urban League, to sign off and to back the extermination of black babies beginning in 1939. One woman's name was on that document. Her name was Dorothy Taylor, whose granddaughter is a woman named Valerie June Jarrett.
Oh my God.
Valerie Jarrett's grandmother, Dorothy Taylor, signed on the dotted line in 39, supporting the final solution of Black America through the extermination of black babies through abortion. That's why I'm angry, not with all of Black America, but with the upper class. You see, so it was 10 years. That's right, Mom. It was 10 years prior in 1929 that this woman, this whore, yes, she was a whore. Why do I say that? Margaret Sanger was perpetuating purity in class, but yet, she had a liaison relationship with H.G. Wells and Cecil B. DeMille, the Hollywood director.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
2 of her 3 boys did not belong to her husband, to Michael Hennessy Higgins. Okay. The husband of Margaret Sanger. Listen, so this is mind-blowing. So 2 of the 3 sons of Miss Sanger, one belonged to Cecil B. DeMille, and the other one belonged to H.G. Wells. So it was Margaret Sanger who approached, and you know this black man in history, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois.
Oh, yeah.
So Dr. Du Bois, who lived in Harlem, was approached by Margaret Sanger in February 1929. How do I take over Black America by planting abortion clinics? Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois said, if you want to take over Black America, you first must concentrate on the black pulpit, the church. So she, through Planned Parenthood.
Why didn't you say that to her? Was that because they were both commies?
Yes, they were commies. Okay. Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois was a commie. Okay. Mom, you hit another powerful nerve with me.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say. Well, they got that one world. So no, but they call each other fellow travelers, and we're on the same path and the left path. In Judaism, the left path is the path of darkness.
Yes.
And they are on the dark path because they're all very angry, and it says that the left path is ruled by anger, and that you can get people on the left path, and that their religion is communism.
That's it.
Because they are victims, though. They are all they were all victimized, and then they have that victim anger. But then it crosses over into abuser anger, but they can never see where they cross over. They can't know where, they can't figure out where that line is. They don't know where that is.
Any Black conservative in history they tried to destroy. There is a hero by the name of Dr. Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
Of course,
who was born in Jamaica but came to Harlem in the early 1920s. Dr. Marcus Mosiah Garvey was targeted by J. Edgar Hoover. Hoover had hired Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, Henry McKee Menton, and the rest of these house Negroes of the Boule Secret Society to target Black independent conservative thought by setting up Garvey, lying that he was embezzling money. That was a lie. Garvey went to prison for a few years and was eventually deported. Who was responsible for that? Not white people. It was these traitors out of the Democratic Party called the Boule Secret Society. So it was Garvey who was exposing Margaret Sanger as a racist, murdering thug.
Eugenicist.
That's right. That's right. Eugenicist. So Margaret Sanger had paid off every Black pastor in 29, a part of the Harlem Pastoral Alliance, paid them $500 each in order to persuade their churches to support Planned Parenthood. These pastors who supported Margaret Sanger, their generations voted for this clone, Joe Biden. That's why I'm upset. Planned Parenthood is
I'm upset too.
That's right. And you know what?
I'm upset that they voted for the two people who've locked up more Black people than anybody in the planet.
Yes.
And then they go around saying it's for that they did their civil rights duty. Oh my God, against racism. Oh my God. And that while they was doing that, they were out there burning down the opportunity zones and stealing the money that Trump sent them. That's what they're paying them kids to riot with. I know how it works. I researched where the money goes. Follow the money. It's all a big old scam stealing our money. That's what they do. They take the public money and put it in private pockets. That's what both parties are all about, but they're about to get a great big shock since Trump started getting that Fed under his own finger.
Oh, and you know what, Mom?
And that's going to be on Hanukkah. I'm telling you, it's going to be the Jubilee on Hanukkah, honey. Honey, I'm telling you that.
And
I'm
Mom,
telling you, that's what God's telling me.
Oh my God, you're speaking truth to power. That's why I honor you and I love you. Okay,
I love you.
You are my mother. I'm telling you, you
are my son. We got a mind meld. We're sharing some DNA, brainal matter, and some soul. We're sharing some soul.
You talking about opportunity zones. George Floyd, and see, George Floyd did not die because he was Black. I keep telling Black folks, stop. George Floyd died because George Floyd was owed drug money by Derek Chauvin, who worked as a security guard for the El Nove nightclub that was owned by a woman by the name of Maria Santa Maria. Okay. Maria Santa Maria, who is
Wait a minute, George Floyd, Derek Chauvin owed George Floyd money?
Yes, Derek Chauvin was a drug runner for the Minneapolis Police Department, over which 60% of the cops were on the take. George Floyd worked as a drug runner for Maya Santa Maria, who owned the El Nove nightclub. Maya Santa Maria is good friends with Vanessa Bryant, the widow of Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant used to frequent nightclub when he played for the LA Lakers, whereas the Lakers traveled once a year to Minneapolis to play against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So it was George Floyd who was going to expose the entire apparatus of the Minneapolis Police Department being complicit in the cocaine industry there in the state of Minnesota. So they set up, who did? The Minneapolis Police Department, 60%, set George Floyd up with a counterfeit $20 bill that, according to my two contacts, Mom, in the FBI, one here in New York City, one there in LA, they told me, going back at least 3 months, they said, Bishop, he didn't die because he was black. They set him up with a counterfeit $20 bill, which the serial number on that $20 bill matched the serial number of the nearly $1 million of counterfeit money that came up out of China, was confiscated at the port of Minneapolis going back to December of 2019, which the Minneapolis local press did not reveal, Mom, until the 27th of January of this year, one day after Kobe Bryant's death.
Oh my God.
So then George Floyd was taken out because he was owed hundreds of thousands of dollars of drug money through the Minneapolis Police Department, which they were also disseminating counterfeit American dollars that was pumped out of China into the port of Minneapolis, which was not exposed to the public in Minneapolis until the day after Kobe's death. So this thing, 80% of the properties, Mom, in Minneapolis that were burnt down was legally insured by the National Indemnity Company that's owned by Berkshire Hathaway, that's owned by Warren Buffett.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah, I did hear that one. Yeah.
Warren Buffett.
Oh my God, they're making money on that. They're making money on it. They burned down the businesses and put up a Walmart or friggin' Walmart. Oh my God, they're so evil. They don't give a damn about Americans.
They don't care, Mom. 80% of
they don't give a damn about nothing.
Are owned by Warren Buffett. So the ignorance of the rioters.
Did you know Jimmy Buffett is his nephew? Honey, did you know that? I just learned that. That Jimmy Buffett, that singer, is Warren Buffett's nephew.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I just heard that. Yeah.
Wow. And remember those
away in Margaritaville, that guy. No,
remember
that
those
guy wasted away in Margaritaville.
Yeah. Remember those pallets of bricks that were shipped all over America? That came out of the Acme Brick Company, ACME. Wow. 80% of the Acme Brick Company is owned by Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett. The other 20% is owned by the Mormon Group out of Chicago, that the CEO of the Mormon Group is the governor of the state of Illinois, Jay Pritzker.
Oh my God. Imagine that.
The Mormon Group that's ran by the Pritzker mob in Chicago, who owns the Hyatt hotel chains, that owns the W Hotel here in Times Square and all of the W hotels, which in August of 2011, a black pastor, Dr. Zachary Timms, was found OD'd supposedly, in a hotel that's owned by the Pritzker family. Well, Zachary Timms was going to expose the black gay mafia in the church, beginning with Bishop T.D. Snakes. So, getting back to The Mormon group that owns 20% of the Acme Brick Company, 80% owned by Warren Buffett. The helicopter that Kobe died on the 26th of January of this year, the Sikorsky 76B helicopter, Mom, was owned previously, going back to January 2017, by the Mormon group owned by the Prisker family out of Chicago. When Kobe died, the helicopter was owned by the Islands Holdings Group out of Van Nuys, California, who traveled to Chicago 3 years prior in January 2017, purchased that helicopter for $517,000 from the Prisker family Mormon group. Guess who is the CEO of the Mormon group that owned that helicopter 3 years ago that Kobe died on this year? The governor of the state of Illinois, Jay Prisker. You're dealing with devils, Mom. Kobe Bryant was liquidated. Has nothing to do that it was the clouds or the rains. And I tell people, stop. I have a 10-volume series, and I have a book coming out.
Do you think they did that to Michael Jackson too?
Yes, absolutely, Mom. Clyde Davis was behind that assassination, according to my 2 contacts. See, Clyde Davis was behind this. And you see, Clyde Davis is a part of the Hollywood pedophilia network, okay? Along with David Geffen, along with Steven Spielberg, okay? Along with Tom Hanks, who's been neutralized. Another topic for another day. So Michael Jackson, okay, was taken out by Clyde Davis. Clyde Davis, okay.
Because they wanted his library, right? They wanted all his songs.
Ah, yes.
And he was a bother to him because, yeah, he was just a bother to him now because they had all his songs and they could make more money with him dead. You know, you're worth more dead than alive, which is kind of where they put me too. Yeah. Plus, they killed me. Plus, don't forget they did kill me, my character. And so I am somewhere in the ether, death or something. So I'm worth more dead than alive too, because I got a big mouth, like, you know, Michael Jackson had a big mouth because he was going to.
You're not going to die, Mom. I'm going to protect you. Yes. We love you. You're not going to die, Mom. We're not going to allow it. No, because you're a voice that we need in America and around the world. Dr. Conrad Murray, Michael Jackson's doctor.
Yeah, he fessed up to
under instruction.
Yeah.
That's right.
So they told me
Dr. Conrad Murray. That's right. Dr. Conrad Murray is a member of Sigma Pi Phi Boule.
Oh, I didn't know.
So the Boule, that's it. Dr. Conrad Murray. You see, the Boule Secret Society, the Black Skulls and Bones, they are the gatekeepers of the system.
Yeah.
They don't own the system.
They're the influencers. They're telling the kids, hey, this is what's cool. This is how you think. This is what you dress, who you like. You know, like, you know, now they like, you know, women singing about their moist vaginas for their #1 songs and shit. You know, that, so they're them.
It's the mentality. You see, Michael Jackson was not going to give up his Beatles catalog and his Elvis Presley catalog. So they took him out through a Boule Secret Society doctor, Dr. Conrad Murray. Okay. This is what they did.
But he did get himself in trouble by getting addicted to like the worst drug on earth.
See, you know. That's right. This is what the Boule does. They're instructed by their slave masters of the left, okay, to target people like Michael Jackson. Tupac Shakur was assassinated through the Boule. Well, one of the daughters of Quincy Jones was in the back seat.
I was there when they got Tupac. I was there when they got Tupac.
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, Tupac Shakur was taken out, okay?
Yeah.
Because he was actually a black conservative. Tupac Shakur, according to my contacts, was actually going to run for public office to be a congressman. That
was his birthright.
Oh yeah,
that was his birthright.
That's right. Okay,
that's how his mother raised him.
That's it, Mom. So when we're talking about the doctor, okay, one of the daughters of Quincy Jones, her name is Khadijah Jones. So Khadijah Jones was dating Tupac up until the time of his death. She's a member of Sigma Pi Phi. She was in the back seat when Tupac was taken out. Now you're going to have listeners say, I don't believe it. I don't care. My job is to present the facts, and it's up to the people to come up with the proper conclusion. Anytime there's a black celebrity taken out, that's it, Mom. Anytime there's a black celebrity that's assassinated, there's a Boule Secret Society member that's behind it. So they took out Tupac.
Well, that's with everything. You know, that's with everything. It's always the trusted insider, you know, that is like Julius Caesar, everybody. You know, it's always the trusted insider. It's the enemy within, and that is what Hanukkah's about.
You see, because these people, and I'm thinking about Kobe Bryant. Wait a minute, Kobe. If I was Kobe's bishop, I would have told him, don't get yourself involved with people like Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, Kobe Bryant knew Jeffrey Epstein because Kobe Bryant's friend and business partner, Jeffrey Morgan Steibel, and Kobe, including Jeffrey Epstein, sat on the executive board of the Lightboat Foundation. So then Kobe trusted too many people because Kobe did not have a deep relationship with God. Okay. So then you got Kobe Bryant. And matter of fact, Kobe Bryant died, Mom, 215 days before the death of Chadwick Boseman of the Panther. Why is that number 215 so important? It's one of the 3 area codes for Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the hometown of Kobe Bryant. So Kobe Bryant and Chadwick Boseman met for the first time in February of 2018 after the Oscars. It was an Oscar night party. It was a week later, according to my 2 contacts in the federal government, Chadwick Boseman began to get sick a week after his first meeting with Kobe. But we're told that Chadwick Boseman died of colon cancer. But in his autopsy, it was arsenic thallium that was found in his bloodstream, predating his diagnosing of having colon cancer. So let me get this straight. So you know about Malcolm X. From the death of Malcolm X on the
what would he say today? I always think about what he'd be saying today. He'd be, you know, talking. He'd be all about opportunity zones and building wealth in your own neighborhood. Wouldn't he?
See, Malcolm X was a black conservative.
Yeah, he was.
See, Mom, here was a man by the name of Alex Haley who plagiarized the Root series. Alex Haley was a member of the Boule Secret Society.
I knew that too, and he was all hooked up with the Mormons too.
That's right. See, Alex Haley was a paid agent provocateur for the FBI, who, along with Albert Balk of Reader's Digest, set up Malcolm X. See, after Malcolm's death, 3 chapters was taken out of Malcolm's book, the autobiography of Malcolm X, which detailed his last political testament, which means Malcolm was saying that he voted for Barry Goldwater in 1964, a white Republican. And not only did he vote for Barry Goldwater in 1964, Mom, but Malcolm X was a black fiscal conservative who was slowly going to return to the What's that, Mom?
It's just common
Yeah.
sense to be a fiscal conservative, for God's sake. You're not
See,
going to throw
Malcolm
your
was
money in.
That's right. You see, the deep state does not want Black America to know that Malcolm X hated the Democratic Party, and
Oh, yeah,
Malcolm
he
X
did.
was a
So did MLK. Did you read a letter from a Birmingham jail? He hates their ass too.
Martin Luther King was a Black Republican and conservative who left the Boulets a month before his assassination. Now, between when Malcolm was assassinated on February 21st, 1965, from that
I just
day,
want to say one thing about Malcolm X.
Yeah.
That I love so much of what he said, and I took so much of what he said, especially his economic policies and economic ideas.
Yeah.
And when I ran for president in 2012, I was, running as a Peace and Freedom, which was his party in San Francisco.
Yes.
And also Dick Gregory's party. He ran on it too. Was a good friend of mine.
Yes.
And so I whatever you call it, included that in my platform. And they stole it and turned it into the Green New Deal. But my original one was based on Malcolm X and his wealth kept in the community, created by the community. So they perverted it. But anyway, that all came from Malcolm X.
That came from Malcolm X. And you know what, Mom? You taught me something about Malcolm's financial and political policy that was hijacked by the Green New Deal, in which the deep state put a former bartender, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a former bartender who cannot remember her left foot from her right hand.
She's a rich girl.
Yeah. Well, she's a former bartender. That's what she went to college.
Comes from privilege.
Yeah, it comes from privilege. Yes, but she has a bartending mentality. She knows nothing about financial policy or foreign policy. But let me say real quick about Malcolm. This is mind blowing, Mom. From the death of Malcolm X to the birth of Chadwick Boseman of the Panther is 666 weeks. From the assassination of Malcolm X to the assassination of Chadwick Boseman of the Panther is 666 months.
Oh my God.
So these men were taken out because they were a threat to the algorithm of the deep state. They cannot afford any type of Black conservative independence. Now, you may mention of Dr. King. Now, according to author and attorney, Dr. William Pepper, who one of his powerful books that he wrote, The Plot to Kill King, Dr. Pepper said, through an affidavit, through a surgical nurse, who was in the ER on the 4th of April 1968 at St. Joseph's Hospital in Memphis, she said through her son, Lula Mae Shelby, she said through the affidavit through her son that Dr. King was not killed at Lorraine Hotel. Yes, he was shot, but Dr. King actually died at St. Joseph's Hospital because he was smothered to death by 3 men, beginning with Dr. Breen Bland. Dr. Breen Bland, the head of surgery in ER, within the ER department at St. Joseph's Hospital, that at the time, on the 4th of April, 1968, was a Black site for the Central Intelligence Agency. So the CIA, through Operation Lantern Spike, began in 1966, but was activated, Mom, a year before Dr. King's death, when Dr. King gave that great historical speech at Riverside Church here in New York City, when Dr. King was exposing the American military industrial complex,
Right.
and was exposing LBJ by saying the LBJ was stealing millions of dollars of the Americans, of America's Social Security to fund the war in Vietnam.
That's right.
So that put a death mark on Dr. King. Through Operation Lantern Spike, the following year, Dr. King was taken out. Not at the Lorraine Hotel, though he was shot. Well, who was the traitors, Mom, that set up Dr. King? Jesse Jackson and Reverend Billy Kyles, Kyles, which your beautiful listeners can go and just type in Reverend Billy Kyles. And Dr. Billy Kyles said that he was instructed to get out of the way so that the killers can have a clean shot at Dr. King. When Reverend Kyles said that, they took him out. So James Earl Ray was a patsy, just like Lee Harvey Oswald was a patsy concerning JFK. So the agency had set up both Lee Harvey Oswald with JFK and James Earl Ray with Dr. King. They took out Dr. King. Had nothing to do with civil rights. They took out Dr. King because he was exposing the corruption in the White House with Lyndon Baines Johnson of stealing millions, billions of dollars of the Social Security money of the American people to fund an illegal war in Vietnam, which had nothing to do with communism, fighting communism. It was a cocaine drug war. That's why they took out Dr. King. They smothered him. Dr. Breen Bland smothered Dr. King with a pillow. There were two black men. There were two men wearing black suits walking for, the FBI with J. Edgar Hoover, along with Dr. Breen Bland, smothered Dr. King because he said we cannot allow this NIGGER to live. So they took off Dr. King's ventilator and smothered Dr. King, and then they were spitting on the corpse of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Who was responsible for that? The Democratic Party through the military-industrial complex. You know why? Jesse Jackson set up Dr. King because Jesse Jackson.
Here's the good news. This is all such horrible history, but here's the good news: it's a lot to take.
It's a lot, Mom.
And I just God bless you for bringing it.
Oh, I love you so much, Mom.
I think we have to take a break now because I'm about ready to go. I need to go to bed for about 4 hours after you put me through this. So much thinking in my brain. My brain hasn't been. I'd love to have you too, and I want you. But my brain hadn't been going like this for weeks. But I'm going to tell you what. Here's the good news. Let me tell you the good news now. Just like Ruby Freeman said, the black people, and my friend Cynthia McKinney said too. Now she's a big, she is very we were both pretty socialist. Now I don't know what she thinks now, but I know she is for Trump, as am I. Yes. And she called me and she said, but Cynthia has integrity and she wants American people to have their votes legally counted because that is our voice. For whatever her belief is, we agree on that. And she told me, she said, Roseanne, she knows how they cheated because they cheated her too out of her seat in Georgia. And they humiliated her because she dared ask Cheney what happened to the people's money. But anyway, she said, Roseanne, Trump won big and he won black. She said, black people in this country, they saved our country. It's because of their vote for Trump that they saved this republic. We owe them a debt of gratitude that they woke up just in time. They saved us all. So for that is our good news, and thank you. And you are my son. I love you so much. I can't wait to talk to you again. God bless you. God bless you. We're going to do this. We're going to wake people up. We're going to bring the truth. We're going to return people to the light.
Oh, I love you too, Mom, and I thank God for you. I'm your son, and I thank God for you. And we got to pray for Jesse Jackson because he changed Dr. King's room from 106 to 306 3 times. These are traitors, but we're going to leave it off on a good note, on a beautiful good note.
Pray.
Thank you so
Pray
much.
for all those people who did things out of fear or shame that they wish they hadn't done, that caused people to suffer and even die. We're going to pray for them, that they come back to the human being and repent, pay their dues, make things right. You can always do that. You can always come back to the right side and pay your, ask for forgiveness. You can always do that. Remember, you can do that. I'm sure you won't, but you could do it. Could happen.
That's right. God is in control, Mom. I love you.
Yes, I know.
Thank you so much. I look forward to being back on your show.
I love you.
I love you, Mom. We're going to have you on our show. I love you as well. And to all of your listeners.
Okay, baby.
Yes, we're going to set that up real soon.